All right, good morning. Off and running. The Krueger Show. Damon Bruce, Sam Betesh joining today. Wake up a little bit later and on a Wednesday. You know, we're making up the rules as we go. The Niners in an off day. Let's go. We got a lot to get to.
You know what? A dozen donuts gets you 12, but the baker's dozen gets you one extra. And Sam Betesh is our wake up baker's dozen, joining us on a special Wednesday. Like Larry said, we finally got a 49ers off day, so it's the right day for a wake up since we didn't have one on Monday, since we won't have one on Friday because Krueger is going to be back down in Santa Clara. But it's an off day, and it's a day for us to, oh my gosh, look at lists and relitigate an NFL offseason and a 49ers offseason, and how much of the 49ers offseason is represented on the ESPN top 50 moves list, but it's all exodus from the 49ers to find them represented. Not a single ad that the Niners made the ESPN top 50 list. So to talk about that, everyone loves a list. It's good to have you all here. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Eat at Ike's. Check out Pig in a Pickle. Go to the Dubliner West Portal. Claw Daddy Arcades. We got an awful lot to tell you about today.
Yeah, welcome to the Krueger Show meets Damon Bruce and Sam Betesh, and we are live. It is 9:40 West Coast, 40 minutes afternoon back east, and we are brought to you on my end by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Also, thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. And also, thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades. He's a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. We're also giving away on the Krug Show side a free autographed Patrick Willis jersey at the end of the month, which is just a day or so away. And all you got to do to be in the running for it is follow Claw Daddy Arcades on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades and subscribe to the Krug Show on YouTube. If you do those two things, you're automatically entered for a chance to win the Patrick Willis signed 52 jersey for the future or the current Hall of Famer. As Damon said, we are going to get into a couple Niner angles here because it is interesting. Matt Bowen from ESPN is one of my favorite guys. He's really, really sharp. He's on the matchup show.
Not a schmuck.
With Greg Cosell. He's really, he knows his
shirts
ball.
Or a hat with that. Not a schmuck is a great, not a schmuck with an arrow towards me is not a bad shirt or hat. I like that.
But he's a really sharp guy, and he came up with his top 50 list of the offseason, the top 50 moves of the offseason, whether they be signings, trades, or draft picks. And when I went through the list, I was like, I was looking for where's Bryce Huff, because I really think that's a great move by the Niners. He's not on the top 50. Not
Wild.
anywhere on the top 50.
Can I just say that that's nearly irresponsible? I mean, 50. This is not top 10, fine. 50? I mean, the fact that
shows.
all 32 teams, that's just wild, but keep going.
It shows that even though there's local and there's national, really there's, as far as coverage, really there's local and then there's regional, because the national networks are either in LA or they're in the Northeast. And what did Bryce Huff not do well? Well, I mean, he got traded from a Northeast team to another Northeast team and then proceeded to not basically do anything with the Eagles. And so as far as the Northeast, football fan is concerned, Bryce Huff stinks. You know what I mean? Bryce Huff is, not worthy of this because he didn't do it in Philly, and he wasn't a fit there. So he's not a fit anywhere, I guess. But yeah, I thought that was odd.
It's out of sight, out of mind, damaged goods, and that's a tough equation to overcome. When, again, you were on a team that won a Super Bowl, but you had nothing to do with it. You become easy to overlook and easy to underestimate. But I think it will be a foolish subtraction from a list that. Look, I was surprised to see where it ended. That Devontae Adams to the Rams is the number one offseason move in the NFL. I mean, okay, we can talk about that. It's certainly up there. if it breathes life into Stafford and the Rams are really nasty, then yeah, I mean, we'll look back at that and say that was easy. I tell you what, though, before we look forward, it's always easy to look backwards first. You know, you want to know where you're going, you got to know where you've been. This list last year from ESPN looked just like this, where they said the number one move in the NFL was Kirk Cousins going to the Atlanta Falcons. They missed the
playoffs.
Right. And Kirk Cousins was instantly replaced before he even made a start, with Michael Penix getting drafted like 2 weeks after he signed.
In a season that he throws for 500 yards in a single game, he doesn't finish the season and ends up in a cookout drive-through instead. I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, the Kirk Cousins number one looks a lot different right now. So keep going, Damon.
It looks worse. It looks worse with Caleb Williams, number two. He was sacked 68 times.
And ahead of Jaden. And this is easy. I mean, nothing like going backwards to make somebody wrong, but this is what we do in sports, right? There's a final score at the end,
right,
and that tells you if you're right or wrong. This looks wrong right now, but keep rolling, Damon.
By the way, that Malik Neighbors coming in at number 9, as good as he is and promises to be, I think he moves way up that list. Christian Wilkins is no longer on the list. He's been kissing foreheads right off that list. He's going to take his damaged foot and his forehead kisses and get out of Henderson, Nevada. And number 13, again, we had to go outside of the top 10 to see where Saquon fell on it. That's your number one move. I don't think any transaction changed the course of NFL history last year more than Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles. So what they had with 13, is number one. Again, hindsight always being 2020. The list isn't terrible. I mean, Bobby Wagner making that list, I think, is a really good ad because he was a huge part of that competent defense that the Commanders rode to the playoffs. Jaden Daniels, obviously. I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is still on that list, nor Tyron Smith. Danielle Hunter, yes. Houston Texans, I actually think one of the bigger moves made this offseason is C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Texans. So,
yes.
This is what it looked like a year ago. So obviously these things change and move when the season is played out. Should I bring up what this year's list is, guys?
Yeah.
Well, before you do, before you do, I mean, let's talk about this list. Falcons missed the playoffs. Bears missed the playoffs. Cardinals missed the playoffs. Jets missed the playoffs. Raiders missed the playoffs. Giants missed the playoffs. Giants missed the playoffs again. Of the top 10 picks, only two teams, Washington and Houston, were the only teams that made a top 10 addition last year. As far as obviously you make every one of these additions with these kinds of players with the idea of they're going to lead us to the playoffs. Only 2 of the top 10 made the playoffs, and only 3 picks in the top 10 were on playoff teams. I mean, to me, this should show you that the big splashy move in the NFL ain't the way to go.
Not at all. And I remember for years, and I'll call them the Redskins, because it was Daniel Snyder and the Redskins were trying to build this way, right? It was about the offseason and, frankly, less about the draft and more about free agents and trades.
Bruce Smith, Deion Sanders.
There were so many of those. I mean, even later with a great diatribe online, if you can find it, but Albert Hainsworth gets roasted by one of the DC. That was, I mean, there have been some incredible ones that haven't worked out, and you're so right about, I mean, hey, an Eagle, Donovan McNabb, it ended up there and it never became anything there. But what's interesting, of course, is the Philly guy. I'm going to look at number 13 there. Saquon Barkley wins Offensive Player of the Year, and the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just clearly that's number one on this list. And I want to give the list credit for one thing. 2 Washington moves on there. And the organization that probably overachieved the most one season to the next, I think we can give that to Washington, right? We can say that Washington's probably was the most stunning improvement one year to the next, and there were a lot, and there was obviously front office, etc. But the fact that 2 are represented there makes a lot of sense. But the big whiff, of course, is that 2 on the Giants side are on there, and the Giants, even though Neighbors was spectacular, that was not a season that anyone wants to remember in New York. And obviously because of the guy that comes in at number 13, what he did for the Eagles to win a Super Bowl. So it's fascinating to go backwards. And to your point, Larry, the Caleb over Jaden thing, this can be brought up. They will be forever tied together, and this may look worse and worse. Let's see if the additions this season for the Bears makes that significant difference for Caleb Williams. But Caleb over Jaden on any list moving forward right now looks like a whiff.
Yeah, so, I as far as last year's quarterback class was concerned, and I feel like everybody who covers football should have to be like on the record with these quarterback classes, because there's an awful lot of revisionist history. But going back, I loved Jayden Daniels, loved Michael Penix, hated Caleb Williams, hated Drake May, hated, who was the fifth guy?
Bo Nix.
Not a Bo Nix guy, not a J.J. McCarthy guy.
Sure.
So I really didn't like any of the quarterbacks in this last draft, other than I like Daniels and I love the arm strength of Penix, and I just think those are the two special guys. But we'll see, right? Because like we're all creatures of the moment. For the moment, Jayden Daniels is the best. But maybe later on this year, Michael Penix will be the best, and who knows? Maybe in 6 weeks, J.J. McCarthy will have Minnesota off to a 4-0 start, looking like the best team in that division, and we may be touting J.J. McCarthy as the best quarterback in this class. So
I think Caleb Williams is going to be in a better situation, and watch the Caleb Williams struggle bus pendulum swing to it gets better. And by the way, watch Jayden Daniels, just like C.J. Stroud the year before. Watch that pendulum swing back to this shit ain't easy. He made it look really easy. Now they got a book on him. NFL coaches know what they're doing. So, the progress is not linear. It'll be interesting to see where these careers shake out 6 seasons from now, not just one more season from now. So, it's
the Caleb one. The Caleb one's interesting too, guys, because Caleb, I think, is, Ryan Poles is taking away the excuses, right? I mean, he brought in Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson. They've got Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright. They've Ozzie Trapillo. They've done their line.
Loveland, tight end, right? I mean,
they drafted Colston Loveland to go with Cole Kmet. They have already in the backfield DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson, but they added Kyle Monangi. And then receiver-wise, I mean, look at this receiver group. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze. Then they drafted Luther Burden. So, yeah, I think in a lot of ways it's not going to be like, if Caleb fails, it ain't going to be the Bears. No, it's not the Bears. The Bears now have a really good offensive head coach in Ben Johnson, and they have surrounded Caleb with more than enough. If Caleb fails, it will be on Caleb, not the Bears. Anyway,
it's going to be a fascinating year in Chicago. That is one of the more interesting NFL stories to watch. Have the Bears finally put this train on the right track with the quarterback and a coach who are on the same page with, like you said, Larry, excuses being removed from why isn't it working? Why isn't it developing? Why aren't they winning games? Do we want to get into what we think the NFL's biggest moves, like our 5 biggest moves this year? And then
let's take a look.
We're going to get into
what it is, right? Yeah,
we're going to get into our moves at the end here, but let's first show the top 10 in the NFL this year. Okay, so this is Matt Bowen's list for the best picks this year. You can't see it a lot, but Devontae Adams to the Rams was listed as number 1. Cam Ward to the Titans, number 2. Joe Tooney to the Bears, number 3. Best offensive lineman who switched teams, according to many. Genty going to the Raiders, 4. Laramie Tunsil going to the Commanders, 5. Josh Sweat to the Cardinals, 6. Milton Williams to the Pats, 7. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, 8. George Pickens to the Cowboys, 9. Abdul Carter by the New York Giants in the draft, 10. And Geno going to the Raiders, 11. So we've got the top 11 up there. I'll just throw it to you guys. What do you guys think of this group? Do you think that these are the 10 best moves? I mean, like, did you guys have? I have only one of these moves in my top 5.
I want to jump into this because I want to point out, I want to remind everyone again, this is the 11 that we're seeing, and there are another 39, and there's not a Niners move on here. I do want to remind everyone, even though I'm going to talk a lot about coaches, this list admittedly is specific to trades, free agent signings, and draft. However, I think any list involving offseason must include, if you have a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, and if you have oath, that's got to be discussed bottom line. So that I just think that's I'm again not irresponsible. They set up the criteria very much in the beginning of the story so that you know that the coaches wouldn't be on here, but I think you have to discuss that. What screams to me on this list, screams to me for sure, and it's why we went to 11 instead of just 10. If you've got 2 moves on this, we talked about on the list from 2024, there were 2 teams that had 2 moves on there. One of them was Washington, and it worked out well. They had 2 on the list from last year, and that was Bobby Wagner and, of course, Jaden Daniels. The team that's got 2, when you look at the top 11 here, pretty interesting, and it's for sure something I want to talk about. And if we're going with our moves that mattered the most this offseason, I'm going to bundle it up. The Raiders, Genty, Geno, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, that for sure, that for me, that is number one. If you're talking about thinking about your team in a different way from one season into the next, if you've got that many changes at those positions, including coach and play caller, that is a wild makeover. If your girl went to the shop and came back and looked like the Raiders do now, 2024 to 2025, you would say, wow, babe, you look amazing. You look completely different. You might even ask, who are you? That is different. That is wildly different. If you liked what the Raiders did last season, you're saying, wow, this is different. Who would have really liked it? It didn't end well. This shows promise. The Raiders, to me, and I'm going to bundle the 4 because those are offensive players, and it's Pete and Chip Kelly. And by the way, you two certainly know what the Niners. Chip Kelly, no one's excited about Chip Kelly as a head coach, but as a coordinator, this looks like a great move. And I'm sorry, I am so excited about Genty. I'm going to have to see him fail before I'm not excited about what Genty did at the previous level in college and what he could do here for the Raiders. And remember, the Raiders have had tremendous running back play. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing. That wasn't that long ago. That's 2 seasons ago. So I'm excited to see what Genty can do.
Well, when you got Robert Gallery blocking for you, no, I'm just kidding. Remember him? Remember that name?
Did we call him the turns? I think his nickname was the Turnstile, right?
Shiloh Rashal was also, he was the turnstile there for a minute. So talking about failed offensive line decisions. Okay, so per usual, I didn't read the instructions. To me, I don't include any draft picks in off-season moves. Like everyone has a draft. So I just didn't include that because I just figured, we don't know what your decision. So here's the deal. Ashton Genty, I agree with you, is probably going to be very, very special. He might absolutely suck and be out of the league in 6 weeks. We never know.
It's funny at that position. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we absolutely do not know anything about rookies. So I didn't include any rookies at all. But I did include coaches and coaching decisions. And I've got what you called your Raiders bundle. I've got a little bundle too. I'd like to give you my top 5 real quick. Number 5, Robert Saleh and Brant Boyer joining the 49ers. Competency in the coaching room coming to the Niners, I think, is trouble for the NFL. Number 4, Devontae Adams signing with the Rams. They got him number 1. I got him number 4.
And can I sprinkle in on that, by the way, because I saw a list that either CBS or Fox put out a top 10, and number 1 for them was Stafford re-signing with the Rams. So that's another thing to add in there with Devontae Adams. Sure. I think that's interesting, right? So you got Stafford and Adams. It's worth saying.
Ben Johnson and Drew Dahlman going to the Chicago Bears. I think Drew Dahlman is going to be the piece that unlocks that Bears offensive line and protecting, and that is the player that the 49ers should have signed this past offseason. I think Drew Dahlman and Ben Johnson, the package in Chicago, means an awful lot. At number 2, I got Pete Carroll and Geno Smith to the Raiders. And at number 1, I got Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers because there's no middle ground there. The Pittsburgh Steelers are either going to be a team to be reckoned with or an unmitigated, for the first time in his career, 5-win disaster. And we're going to see a losing record actually attached to Mike Tomlin. There's no 8-9, 9 or 8 for the Steelers. It's either going to really work or really not work, and Aaron Rodgers will be the reason for all of it, one way or the other. So
if you call this NFL offseason moves with the most impact, I think you nailed it, Damon. The most impact, I think you're right. The most undeniable piece that shows up in your building at your address is Aaron Rodgers, right? There's no mistaking that he has arrived and that we are now moving in his direction, and that's taking you one way or the other quick. That elevator is going up or going down. Those are the 2 buttons you've got, period.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with Damon's list. you can't make an impact on a shitty team. There's no who did you say, Sam, off the start made the biggest impact? Saquon Barkley. Yeah. And what was your defense? They won the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Damon's list includes the Bears, the Raiders. These teams aren't winning anything. The Raiders, Christian Wilkins not being, yes, it's a funny little story and the wrinkles and all the behind the scenes and what was really going on. But the reality, the brass tacks on the thing is that the Raiders have a shitbird defense, and the only guy worth a damn on their front line is Christian Wilkins, and they just cut him. Outside of Max. Let's
not sidestep.
But Max. I'm saying, look, the rest of their defensive tackles are Adam Butler, Lecky Fatoku, Tonka Hemingway, Zach Carter. I'm just saying, the Raiders aren't gonna win anything this year. I agree, it's been a good offseason, but my list is about moves that could be made that are going to matter, as far as that are like Saquon Barkley. Right, I'm looking for teams that make that move that now they either weren't a playoff team and now they are, or they were a playoff team and now they're a Super Bowl contender, or they were a Super Bowl contender and now they're a Super Bowl favorite. I think I'm looking for moves like of that last list that we looked at last year. Like there was a lot of bad football teams on there. So I don't know. I agree with you that there's some big names there, but. And I think that, nobody went with rookies because, look at the 3 rookies on this list. They arguably the highest profile rookies in the league. You've got the number 1 quarterback in Cam Ward. You've got the number 1 running back in Ashton Genty. And who's the 3rd rookie on the list?
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. Yeah, who's like the number 1 edge rusher. So they're not going
Lawrence Taylor after 2 padded practices.
They're not going too deep on the draft. Sammy, okay, so Damon, go ahead. Yours is, again, Damon, you've got Ben Johnson.
I had Saleh and Boyer joining the Niners. Saleh and Boyer joining the Niners. Devontae Adams to the Rams. Ben Johnson and Dolman to the Bears. Pete Carroll and Geno to the Raiders. Because, I do think it makes a difference to go from totally incompetent, no direction, to at least you got a good coach and a decent quarterback. And that right there can mean you're a 7-win team. And then you win 2-3 more games than you're supposed to. And, oh, fuck, the Raiders are a playoff team. Who knew? It could happen. It's not out of the question. Pete Carroll's turned teams around too. And Aaron Rodgers, you can talk about how Pittsburgh doesn't matter, but Pittsburgh might matter. You never know. And if Aaron Rodgers has one last day in him, I think it changes things. Again, I didn't make my list with the how it affects this year's postseason in mind. And that sounds like how you really made your list, Larry. Give us yours. Give us your top 5.
Yeah, you went like kind of a Sports Center topics list. Like Aaron Rodgers has been talked about
don't put
a ton.
Sports Center on. Don't put Sports Center on me. That's mean.
And Larry, again, if you call it impact, right? If you don't assign positive or negative to it, I think Damon did hit what is not just splash, but these were the ones that undeniably are going to have an impact where your season is either going to hit that next level as you described or fall off the rails. Frankly, last year, Kirk Cousins as number 1 is not bad if you look at it from that perspective. Kirk Cousins was either going to define that season in a positive way or define what happened. And in the end, he did define what happened. What happened is he didn't have the job and Penix is now your starter.
Right. Well, and Penix, as Damon said, was drafted before Kirk even took snap 1 of the regular season. All right, Sammy, I'll go. I said I would go last, so I'll let you go next. Go ahead. Who do you got?
All right. So as I said, the Raiders. I just love that. The Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Ashton Genty, Geno Smith. That collection is number 1 for me, and number 2 is another bundle, and it's just the Patriots without question. When you look at Vrabel coming in, I love the Patriots at head coach there. And that's going to be somewhere where now Vrabel has that kind of control the way Belichick had over the entire organization. Much like Parcells once said, if you want me to make the dinner, I want to go to the grocery store and get what we're going to put in the dinner. So it looks like Vrabel now will have that touch on this. And whatever you think of Stephon Diggs, there's still a little life there. You got something out of Drake May last year. So now if you're talking about, and again, look at this offense, the difference in it. Stephon Diggs, Travion Henderson, and Will Campbell. So that's just from an offensive standpoint. Consider May where he is. I understand that's not new for this year, but with May now having Diggs, Travion Henderson, and Will Campbell, that's offensive line, running back, receiver. Those are major, massive upgrades for an offense. And again, he's on this list. Will Campbell and Milton Williams. Again, so defensively now, a guy who was a star in the Super Bowl, a star for the Eagles, Super Bowl championship team most of last season, Milton Williams is now in New England as well. So I understand I packaged it, but I don't think it's fair to take one offensive move and not string the others together. So even if you want to take Milton off the list, new head coach, and not just new head coach like we don't know who he is and what he's done, nobody needed Tennessee to be in an AFC championship game 3 seasons ago. And yet that's where they were. And remember who their quarterback was, Ryan Tannehill. Vrabel can do more with less. He learned that from Belichick. He was obviously a part of that system. I just love what Vrabel does in saying, this is now how we establish things in New England. Belichick out. We had the interim there, and now we're seeing this. Mayo wasn't quite the guy to maybe rally everybody and put a new stamp on the organization. Vrabel is. He's been there. He's won there, and he is going to reestablish what they are, and I love the way New England looks. That's number 2. Number 3, and I bet none of you have this, and I know, Damon, you didn't include rookies, but I've said this. I said it to you, Damon, actually a while ago. What if this draft is not remembered for the quarterback? And that does happen once in a while. The quarterback usually defines it, and we go back in time, and it's going to be about Cam Ward, maybe some miracle, it's Shedeur Sanders, whatever it is, usually it's quarterback. The move that is overlooked now that I want everyone to remember, the Jaguars were not at the number 2 pick. They traded into that to get Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter is truly going to be the only player ever that plays on both sides of the ball, the way we see Shohei Ohtani pitching and hitting in Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani changed what we think of baseball. The greatest baseball player in America's pastime is Japanese, all right? That changed everything. If Travis Hunter stars on both sides of the ball, he is the player from this draft that we will remember, and the Jaguars were aggressive in going to get him. That didn't fall in the lap. They weren't talking months about just having Travis Hunter fall in their lap.
By the way, did you read the story about how Travis Hunter just does not tire, does not get winded? He's out there sprinting with every sprint 100 yards and wanting to play special teams. They're like, we need to study his lungs. Like, he must have a secretariat heart,
yes,
twice the size of a normal horse's heart. He's got some VO capacity in him that's like like Tour de France level Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Get him a Livestrong bracelet. I love Travis Hunter. I love him on paper right now. Maybe this is our best chance to love him before we see that it only goes one way. And sure, if he turns out to be Charles Woodson instead of Travis Hunter, that's still okay. He would still be a Hall of Famer on defense. Or frankly, if he does it on offense only and he is a Hall of Fame level player at either one of those, that's great. But I'm saying he has the chance to redefine football in Jacksonville and, frankly, redefine what we think of players in the NFL. So that I love. I love the aggression of Jacksonville saying we have to do something, and they went and did it on draft day, and that's not easy to move up, and they stole a player who could transcend everything. And maybe we'll look at this next year and say, remember Travis Hunter? He tried too hard. He got hurt, and that was that. But for right now, we've got that possibility. That's number 3. I'll take Davante Adams, number 4, and again, I like it for the same reason. I want to remind everyone, the Stafford move should be dissected. This is a team that told their starting quarterback to try to find another destination. Remember, he was going to be a Jet or a Giant. There was that moment in time. Somebody there in that building doesn't fully believe that Matthew Stafford has it in him, maybe not just for this season, but moving forward. They know they've got to move on. And not only did they tell Matthew Stafford, go check it out, see if you can get more money somewhere else, guess what they also did? They were going to draft Jackson Dart. The Giants came in. The reason we like the Giants draft is because the Giants got aggressive. They came in and traded ahead of the Rams to get a second number 1 pick, first-round pick, and they took Jackson Dart ahead of the Rams who were going to. And the reason you know that is the Rams then traded out and decided we don't even want a first-round pick if we're not getting Jackson Dart. So they wanted Dart. So there's clearly something there with Stafford. But Davante Adams has a chance. Davante Adams turned Aaron Rodgers back into Aaron Rodgers for the last 8 games of last season. Go look at what Davante Adams did at the end of last season. If he's in a competent offense, and we know that Sean McVay is going to have a competent offense, Davante Adams and Puka Nacua have a chance to redefine what we think about the best duos of wide receivers in the NFL. They could dominate in a way that Stephon Diggs once did when he was in Minnesota, in the way that Addison and Justin Jefferson are now. I mean, this could really pop. So I do like Davante Adams. And then I'll stick with the NFC East. Tunsil is on this list from ESPN, but I'm going to add a guy we know well. Damon, you said it. You think Deebo doesn't have a ton left in the tank, but maybe he's got one last gasp. I think Deebo's got a season to try to put both birds up at the Niners, and Deebo walks around with a chip on his shoulder, he's going to think and he's going to convince himself that the Niners sent him away like used goods, and he's going to use that as motivation to go out and scorch and make a difference for this Washington team that, to your point, Larry, is just there. This is a playoff team that we think could be a Super Bowl favorite. If Deebo Samuel, and now that McLaurin is back and feeling good about where he is, if the Commanders can avoid that sophomore slump from the way C.J. Stroud had it in Houston, if Jaden Daniels is where he's at with Deebo and now Tunsil, and by the way, in the draft, they also went out and got another great offensive lineman for him. Washington with Tunsil and Deebo Samuel, I'm going to pair those together. That's number 5. So again, Raiders, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Ashton Jeanty, Geno Smith, that's 1. Vrabel, Stephon Diggs, Travion Henderson, Will Campbell for the Patriots, that's number 2. Travis Hunter by himself, number 3. Devontae Adams at number 4. And Tunsil, along with Deebo Samuel on this list, is my number 5.
All right. Interesting list. Okay, first I'm going to push back hard on Devontae. You got old Stafford. Devontae has not scored double-digit touchdowns since 2022. He's 32. He's not on steroids. He's an NFL player. He's crested the hill. He's already played his best football. He could be easily catching passes from Jimmy Garoppolo at the start of this year. The Rams had a good year last year, but they were very fortunate, very paper thin on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't love that one. Don't love Devontae Adams. I think Devontae is a big name, but I don't.
I think he's been in a bad situation for 2 teams in a row now, and maybe, McVay, a good quarterback, one last hurrah from Devontae Adams could prove a real headache for the 49ers this year.
Well, that's the thing, though. Stafford is old, and Stafford is hurt right now, and Stafford may not start the year. So, I mean, you've got to, to me, picking old players is never good because old players get bad. So I don't love that one. What's the last one?
So the last one for me is I think Washington is going. I think Debo's going to be heard from.
Oh, Debo.
I think, and again, you don't like old, but I'm looking at last year's list.
No, I don't like Deebo.
I get it.
Debo's fat. Debo's lost all of his explosiveness. I'll give you 3 games for Deebo. He'll have 3 games.
Well, if one of them is the NFC Championship, that'll be pretty significant.
Well, that could be it. But I'd say he's a 3 or 4 game producer this year for Washington. He was not good for the Niners last year, and he averaged 2.3 yards per carry. So Deebo as a runner is not great. Deebo as a separator is not great. Deebo as a route runner is not great. So I just think that Deebo is more of a name and an idea and a concept than he is actual production. But I understand why you have him on the list. I mean, there's a lot of hope that he's going to dial it back, and but he told us all, hey, I'm not struggling, I'm just not getting the ball. And then they gave him the ball and he was struggling, so he's just gotten old. He's gotten a lot of he's lost a lot of juice. All right. Good list though. Good list. All right. I'm going to my list here. I went with players who I thought could vault their teams over the top. You know what I mean? Like, and so we were going with individual moves. I just went with one move each time. I could not.
We cheated a little bit.
You cheated. You guys wrote your own rule book.
I didn't read the rules. I'm sorry.
Okay, so number 5 on my list, and this, unfortunately, I have a tie here for number 5, but I am going draft picks.
He is cheating.
I'm cheating. We're all cheating.
So you got 6. If you got 6, and I will make a point when you're done, but please give me your 6. Let's call it 6, Larry, since you set the rule at 5 and you've already gone with 6. So we're all
we're all cheating. So we've all cheated one way or another. So I've cheated by coming up with 6. And I'm leaning on the draft because I'm a draft guy. Number 6, Denver drafting Jahdae Barron, or however you pronounce his first name, Barron, the Texas corner, putting him opposite Surtain. To me, I've seen the NFL when you have 2 great corners and you can do everything you want. Your bag of tricks is deep when you've got 2 guys that can lock it down on the outside. And Barron is so special. I see like a Brian Branch type player who can play corner, safety, he can do it all. I love Barron. I would have drafted him if I were the Niners, where they took Mykel Williams. I'm a huge Barron fan. I think he goes to Denver, makes a massive impact. The other one I'm tying that with is Kansas City. Everybody said, "Oh, Josh Simmons has got this and that, and he's not going to be ready, and he may never play again." They drafted maybe the best left tackle with the 32nd pick in the draft. Josh Simmons, if he had been healthy, according to Mel Kiper, would have gone top 5. And the Chiefs got him at 32. And he's been great. And he looks great right now. And they've got him starting at left tackle, protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side. So I would say,
by the way, which they need desperately, as we saw in the Super Bowl. So, okay, go continue. That's great.
So those two would be number 5, right? 5 or 6, 6 or 5. Josh Simmons to Kansas City and Jedi Barron to Denver. I think both those draft picks are going to be among the best picks by anybody all year. All right, that's number 5. Number 4, Damon referenced it, but Damon, did you not? You referenced him, but did you not put C.J. Gardner-Johnson on your list?
I just had him under Saleh and Boyer. He was number 6 on my list. And
if the rules were 6, Larry, then Damon would have had him.
Yeah, he would have had him.
I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a huge move for D'Amico Ryans. And if the Texans are going to be something this year, they're going to be something because of that defense. I love Hunter. I love Ryans as a coach. And I think that C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a badass who's still got a season or 2 in him. So
he's also the kind of guy, and certainly people in Philly know this, he sets a tone on defense. He's really a defensive leader. He's a guy that really is sort of the Deebo of the defense, and he can do that. And he will have a chip on his shoulder. He's already been talking shit about the fact that he's not in Philly for reasons that are beyond him. And I can say of all the moves the Eagles made, the one that Eagle fans are still holding on to, because we give Howie credit for everything that happens right now. I understand that, but Gardner-Johnson's the one that could come back. I feel like that was potentially emotional, and that could come back. So I like him in Houston. He'll have a massive chip on his shoulder.
Nobody likes C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the guy. Everybody likes C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the player. And Houston traded for him. And he's everything, man. He had 6 picks for the Eagles last year. He can cover the slot. He can play down the field. He can play in the box. He can hit like a linebacker. He's just the urgency, the passion.
He can hit after the whistle. He can get penalized 15 yards. Watch for that too. Yeah.
He's violent, but he's a tone setter. He's a violent tone setter. And to me, I mean, the bottom line is the bottom line. Last year, where was he? Philly. What happened? They won the Super Bowl. The year before that, where was he? Yeah. Detroit. Where did they go? They went to the NFC Championship game, and he was a major portion of that. The year before that, he was in Philly, right?
Yeah, so he was there for the Super Bowl season, and then again, part of the unraveling last season was a big part on the defense, and a lot of people say that was the difference. Obviously, Vic Fangio gets a ton of credit, but Gardner-Johnson being out of it for the second half of 2024, a lot of 2023, a lot of people say that's where it unraveled.
So he's a difference maker, and I know he runs a little hot, and I know, he says a lot of stupid shit, and he does a lot, he's reckless, and he's, as Sammy says, he's going to have penalties, but he's big time. And to me,
like, if there, you got your NFL first team All Pro, second team All Pro, there should be a first team All Glorious Asshole team. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson could be a captain of the glorious asshole team in the NFL.
Yeah, Jake Cutler's the general manager of that team. But yeah, absolutely.
This guy is dysfunctional, but he's a great player. Nobody likes him, but everybody loves him on game day. So I'm going to say C.J. Gardner-Johnson's a major step forward for the Houston Texans. All right, that's number 4. Number 3 on my list, I'm also going draft here, and I think this guy is going to be amazing, and that's Omarion Hampton for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are going to run, and this guy is a hammer. And he's big, and he's fast, and he ran for 1,500 yards in each of the last 2 years at UNC, and he's big time. And they got a run blocking O line, and they got a run blocking run the ball mentality, and you got Najee as well. But this guy is the guy
with one eye, and Najee with the eye patch.
Yeah. But Omarion Hampton, I think, is going to be spectacular. Now, I almost went with Ryan. Is it Ryan Harvey? Who's RJ Harvey? RJ Harvey for Denver. Almost went with RJ Harvey, but because I believe in him too. But I'm going to Omarion Hampton. I think Hampton's going to be monster.
Can I remind everyone? So Siciliano told me one thing before this draft, and he said it to a lot of people. But Omarion Hampton, potentially there was a moment in time where Genty and Hampton were discussed as perhaps there could be a flip. Everyone had Genty as the guaranteed number one running back taken. There was a moment in time where Hampton was considered that if there was going to be a guy that was going to go ahead of Genty, it very well could have been Hampton. Go back and look at the mock drafts. He really is there, and he really is considered.
The only thing you could score against Genty was the competition he played against. Right. The other guy didn't have that going for him.
Exactly.
Well, and as far as for this conversation, the one thing that you could say that Genty doesn't have is a line. He doesn't have the Charger line in front of him.
Yep.
So number 3 on my list is more in that category. It's kind of the same thing, but I went with, and I know you're going to laugh at this one, but I went with Mekhi Becton.
Oh,
I'm not laughing at that.
6'7", 360, 370. I mean, look what he did for the Eagles last year. I thought they saved his life as far as his football life because they gave him purpose. They gave him a reason to be proud. He's wearing a Super Bowl ring. He's now he's totally viewed by the rest of the league differently. He got a payday with the Chargers, and this guy can absolutely move people in the run game. And he's entering his prime. The Chargers have Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt at tackles. That might be the best tackle tandem in the sport right now. And now you've got this monster at right guard blocking for Amarion Hampton. So kind of 3 and 4 are kind of the same, right? Because it's all about the Chargers getting over with a strong run game.
But I love building that offensive line, man.
Yeah, I love Hampton. And I love Mekhi Becton.
Well, Mekhi Becton,
that's a very good call. Very under the radar. I mean, did that even make ESPN's top 50? Was that even in there? Okay, good.
It was. He was 15th.
Okay. Yeah, that's strong. And again, that's probably because they love the Hampton thing too, and they know the way Harbaugh wants to just drop the hammer when it comes to the run game. I'll say this about Becton.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off there, Sammy, but it's living proof that situations dictate careers as much as talent. As much as ability, you got to be in the right situation. And in Becton's case, position. Terrible tackle, outstanding guard. Right?
Look what the Eagles did that last season. Zach Bond, a special teams player, becomes a linebacker, and he's the defensive player of the year candidate. And with Becton, you saw the tears running down his face. It's one of the great moments, the indelible moments when the Eagles were pouring Gatorade with 5 minutes to go in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, which I can't.
A great moment for you, Sam. No one else here.
Yes, you're right. But Becton's crying. What I mean though is, if you're someone that understands the journey in the NFL, Becton's not crying just, hey, I won the Super Bowl. Becton could have never imagined. He's with the Jets. He's a disaster when it comes to draft pick that is underachieving. And again, he's with the Jets. And people, when you're failing with the Jets, you know what you think? My next move is out of this league. Instead, he goes to Philly. They obviously have a tremendous offensive line already. And Jeff Stoutland, let's remember, he got teamed up with Jeff Stoutland, who is now considered the greatest offensive line coach in the league and author of the Tush Push, etc.
Look at it coming up here, 49ers.
No, there you go.
Jeff Stoutland for getting a contract. Stoutland, the best line coach in the NFL.
So very true. And now, again, you take that away from him, who knows? But we all think that Saquon Barkley's not going to run for 2,000 yards again. And frankly, most players after a 2,000-yard season, it's a bit of a cliff because you were used so much. People will remember in Philly also, it's not just Saquon ran a lot. Without Becton, there is now a position battle. The reason C.J. Gardner-Johnson got traded, they got an offensive lineman from the Texans in that move with CJ, because he is going to be competing with Tyler Steen for the spot that Becton left. So that was crucial. That might be. So there's a lot tied to the Becton free agent signing there. Yeah. And that could spell a big difference. If Philly's not at that level, remember Becton, remember CJ Gardner-Johnson, and they're tied together because they needed that trade to get someone to replace Becton. I love, Larry, that's a tremendous one to put on the list when you're going top six.
We got to get to the Niners' biggest move. So Larry, give us your last two NFL moves.
So I also can appreciate Travis Hunter. Yeah. I have Travis Hunter number 2.
Nice.
Come on, man. I mean, let's be honest. This is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. 15 touchdowns, 23 receptions of 20 yards or more. That was second in the nation. 9 interceptions in his college career. We've never seen anybody like this. This is a number 1 receiver and a number 1 corner. This is Deion Sanders' with a better academic resume. This is an amazing player who's going to be a major difference maker. So yes, Travis Hunter has to be on this list. He is the greatest draft pick in not just this draft, but probably in a lot of drafts. So he's number 2 on my list, and I'm a lot of conviction there. And then number 1 on my list is Laramie Tunsil. I mean, you can't. The Niners, the greatest move that John Lynch ever made. If John Lynch retired tomorrow, and he was sitting there talking about his greatest moves he's ever made, he would talk about the Trent Williams trade. I traded a 3rd and a 5th for Trent Williams. Well, Adam Peters traded for Laramie Tunsil in his prime. He gave the Texans a 3rd round pick this year, a 7th round pick this year, and a 4th round pick this year. No, I should say, no, that's it.
Future pick.
No. In return, the Texans received a 2025 3rd, a 2025 7th, a 2026 2nd, a 2026 4th, and a 2025 4th. So they got 5 picks. They got 5 picks, including 3 picks in this last draft and 2 picks in the next draft. And, so they got a nice little haul for.
It's a good trade. I think that's a trade that looks good on both sides. I really do.
It's actually 4 picks, but 4 picks. He's a 5-time Pro Bowl left tackle to block for Jaden Daniels on his blind side. I mean, Washington took a massive step forward getting Laramie Tunsil to protect Jaden Daniels, and to me, it's going to result in a Super Bowl for sure. Those are my 5.5, I guess. Laramie Tunsil, Travis Hunter, Mekhi Becton, Amarion Hampton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and then a tie, Josh Simmons or Jedi Barron. So
By the way,
Niners
quickly on Tunsil, he also, without question, if you ever see draft day outfits and a list, if Laramie Tunsil doesn't get number 1 for wearing a bong mask on the day of the draft, I don't know who right? I mean, a bong gas mask to come out on draft day for you. At Laramie Tunsil, you win best dressed on draft day forever. That's a number 1 spot. That is a Mount Rushmore draft day outfits. You could combine NBA and NFL draft day outfits.
How about whenever opposing agent put that picture out, right? Like, I'm going to get my guy drafted in front of Tunsil here. We're going to go gas mask. That was something else.
Oh my God.
So Niners wise, no Niner acquisitions made the top 50. And yet several of their departures did. Mooney Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, Mooney Ward, Deebo Samuel. I believe 5 49er departures made this list, but 0 49er acquisitions made the list. So I'll throw it to you guys as we finish up here. What is the 49ers' best move of the offseason, and should it have been in the top 50?
Well, without question. Damon, you go first. Go first, Damon.
Now, Huff should have been in the top 50, and I do have that as the top move of the 49ers offseason. But I'll give everyone who might not have had that a little grace because, honestly, until I saw Mykel Huff in pads the other day,
Bryce Huff.
Thank you very much. Until I saw Bryce Huff just looking like a rocket ship coming off the line of scrimmage, I kind of forgot about him too. I just a little bit. I had stopped thinking of Bryce Huff being with the Niners. I had been so deep into my Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, CJ West thoughts that Bryce Huff kind of became an overlooked player by me. And then you go and you watch a little practice and you're like, holy shit, this guy. And again, situations dictate careers. He was in a bad situation. He was hurt. He is no longer hurt. I think he's in a good situation now. I think Bryce Huff is far and away the Niners' number 1 move. And if you wanted to say, well, what's the number 2 move? Behind that, I would say bringing Robert Saleh home. Those to me are almost tied together. I don't know if you have one without the other, to be totally honest with you. So I've got those 1, 2, and at 3, and again, this is why, Larry, you love camp. I like camp. I go down to camp. I put a few days is just enough camp for me. Demarcus Robinson. I've got him as the 3rd biggest move. I think the 49ers signed their best wide receiver this year when they signed Demarcus Robinson until Brandon Ayuk gets back, until Jauan Jennings shows that he can really be that guy game in, game out all the time. Every ask, are you great every day? Not that Demarcus Robinson has been great every day, but I think he's more than just a deep threat based on what I've seen He looks like the Niners' best wide receiver. So those would be my top three real quick. Bryce Huff, Saleh coming home, Demarcus Robinson signing with the 49ers are my top three moves. And I do think that it is dereliction of duty to not have Huff on the top 50 list.
Okay, so in regards to Huff, I want to say this, and then, Larry, I'm going to ask you to share the screen, but not yet. In regards to Huff not making the top 50, remember, this isn't just about the fact that he disappeared in Philly. How the hell, and you know that list was put together by maybe 50% Jets fans. Everybody that's putting together that list on the East Coast is a Jets fan. How do you not have Huff, considering what he did in New York, knowing that he's coming back to be paired with Saleh? How do you not have Huff on there? I'm surprised because there's usually so much Jets love for a list coming out of ESPN. I'm stunned that after just one season, you forgot what Huff should have been and what he likely will be. Now, please share the screen for my number one move of the offseason without question for the 49ers. This is it. Simply this. And Larry and Damon, you know that you and I have spoken about this many times. I told you I wanted a shirt. I want to see this as a presidential candidacy. Shanahan, Saleh back together. This is going to be the move. This is what we will remember. That Super Bowl MVP could have gone to Vic Fangio as much as anybody else when the Eagles destroyed the Chiefs, and defense matters like that. And Saleh brings back the identity for this defense. I considered the tagline being make defense great again, but I wanted it to apply to everybody. Shanahan, Saleh together, 2025, make the Niners great again. That's what this is about. That's the pin that we should all be wearing. That's what this offseason will be remembered for. It is that number one, absolutely number one. And if you want number two for the best thing that happened this offseason, let's look at one other thing. I think it's right here. You can share the screen again. The number two most important thing that happened this offseason, this right here. The Niners' schedule for 2025. We knew it was going to be easy based on opponents, and then it came out, and the way it lays out, this is one of the top three easiest schedules of the last decade based on winning percentage from the season before. And frankly, another thing to remember, this is not only winning percentage from the season before, winning projections for the coming season. This is also the easiest schedule in football.
Right.
The Niners got Saleh, and they've got the easiest schedule. That right there is a recipe to go from non-playoff team to Super Bowl favorite. And if you look, there's a list on CBS Sports for the greatest buys at the Super Bowl right now as far as purchases, the best bets you could make. And by far, out of that list, the Niners as a Super Bowl winner is the best bet you can make right now. And it's based on that schedule because if you think about it, that's also a path to the 1 seed. And that was the point that article made. The Niners, to get to the Super Bowl, likely you'd love to have a bye and you'd love to host everything before the Super Bowl. The Niners have that opportunity. But Saleh is absolutely it. I don't even want to waste time with anything else. I know I went way off the reservation to say a coach and a schedule. But to me, the offseason, the hype is all about those two things. Saleh being back and the schedule. Easiest for a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago.
And then
good answers.
Super Bowl in their own stadium.
How about
all
that?
Good
You're
answers.
absolutely right. Hosted all the way.
I will say this, you wear that button around town, you're probably going to get attacked.
It's okay for different reasons, but I just thought what's the easiest slogan everyone will understand quickly, not to be political at all, but frankly, it's true because it applies because Saleh and Shanahan were together in the past, and here they are again, and this is the opportunity.
I would say there's three moves that, and I could go Saleh, but I'm a players guy, so I'm going to go players. To me, Bryce Huff / CJ West. CJ West is going to be a monster inside. It's obvious. And Bryce Huff, his ability to get off the ball, I think he provides them the best edge piece they've had opposite Bosa since Bosa's been here. I saw Bryce Huff have 2 reps. Now, granted, it was against Austin Pleasance, and Pleasance struggles with speed. But he dipped the shoulder, got the quarterback, and Huff and Pleasance whiffed on him, never touched him. And then on the next pass play or next pass rush where Pleasance got Huff, Pleasance was so cognizant of the fact he needed to kick out to get Huff, put hands on Huff, that he overextends to the right, and Huff spins inside into the face of the quarterback, and Pleasance was like, gave up another sack again. So I would say Bryce Huff and CJ West on the Niner front, because everything about the Niners is about their front. And if they don't have a front, they don't have anything. And now with Huff and West, they have two real great players up front. The third guy, though, is going to surprise some people. I'm going to say it's Jordan Watkins, the rookie from Ole Miss. Here's why. Look at the Niners, look at the Niner receiving core. Ayuk, when he's healthy, coming off a major injury. Pearsall, Jauan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson. What do these guys all have in common? None of them run well. None of them are burners. I mean, Ricky ran a sub 4.4, but I mean, there's no burner there. And if you ask Shanahan, he'll tell you. I mean, there's other guys too that look good. Russell Gage has had a really good camp. He looks good.
He does.
He looks good. He looks good.
Healthy. He's healthy.
Yeah. And he's playing well. But he's also slow. You have to have a deep threat. There's a reason the Eagles signed Danny Gray, despite the fact they already have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, because you have to be able to run off the top of the defense. You have to be able to make them defend the length of the field. And Watkins showed yesterday he can not only get deep, but Purdy can get him the ball deep, and he can make plays. And that changes the dynamic for the 49ers in every way imaginable. So I know he's a rookie. I know he's a fourth-round pick. But Jordan Watkins giving them a deep threat, which they have not had, will change the way defenses will. They'll have to play the Niners a little bit more honest.
Can I give you one more, Larry? One more?
Sure.
Jason Pinnock, 1-year deal from the New York Giants. I think Pinnock's going to play a role in this season for the 49ers. I've been impressed by him. I think he's been one of their best safeties. Getting back to your Jordan Watkins point, he's polished, man. Just for a rookie, he's very polished, and you're right, he moves like the wind. So I'm excited about that, but I really do think that Jason Pinnock is going to make a splash for the 49ers this year. I also had just the concept of getting business done.
Thank you.
The fifth most important thing was Jauan Jennings, done. The Alfred Collins thing, done before it became an issue. And then the biggest headache of them all really wasn't a headache at all with Brock Purdy. It's done. Getting the homework assignment done before it got in the way of preparing for the upcoming season. I got that on the list.
Thank you. I was going to say in the bag, 3 together. Kittle, Purdy, Warner. Kittle, Purdy, Warner. The extensions matter because that could have been somewhere else. And as I told you, there's lists that have Matthew Stafford coming back to the Rams as being most important. If you put those 3 together, Kittle, Warner, Purdy, that is the future of your franchise. The fact that there's no conversation around those 3 players is a tremendous boon for this team. And you're right. That is homework. Yes, that had to be done. It's not as sexy. It's not the new toy when you go to Toys R Us. But guess what? That's the most important one. You need those 3, and they're all locked up.
There you go. We're talking extensions, and there was no mention of WNBA. How about that?
There you go. The wig coming in. Did you guys see the neon green dildo that got thrown on the court the other night?
Didn't see that. Missed it.
Valkyrie's game. I saw a highlight on Twitter.
So wait a second. A Valkyries game happened and a Buffalo Bills game broke out?
Yes. We had an on-court dildoing in the WNBA.
I would have thought it would have been hockey first. I would have thought hockey as far as throwing things on the ice that might have made it, but this is tremendous.
For the younger people in our audience, we apologize. All right, here we go. Let's hit some supers. MSQ says, thoughts on the highest-rated rookies in Madden 26. Hunter gets an 84, Genty an 83, Carter an 81, Graham an 80, Campbell a 79, Jalen Walker a 79, Grant a 78, Barron a 78, Mykel Williams a 78, Hairston a 78.
Good to see Mykel Williams in the top 10. They're all rookies. We don't know how any of them are going to play. Not one of them yet.
I'd like to know what Hampton's number is. I don't have it top of hand for Madden, but I think opportunity-wise, Hampton's going to have a chance to be in the 80s for sure.
MSQ drops this one. And thoughts on the highest-rated players in Madden 26? Chase, 99, Allen, 99, Jefferson, Jackson, Johnson, Garrett, Barkley. What can you say?
Here's the thing. So, I understand that time is unkind to even young players who are still in their prime at times, and tread does come off tires. there's probably nothing that matters more than the NFL to the NFL than just Patrick Mahomes getting out of bed every day, right? Patrick Mahomes isn't a 99. Sure. Good luck with that. Good luck with any of your 99 rated players going up against Patrick Mahomes. I still think that guy somehow gets overlooked when he is the center of the NFL universe still.
He should, yes. He should wear number 99 if Madden's putting out those ratings. I'm so with you. And I would say the player that is most likely to drop on this list, and we're going to look back and say, Barkley deserves 99 heading into the season for what he did. The likelihood that he's got a 99 in him for this season, very, very unlikely.
Yeah. Hard to put it back to back. MSQ is also considered that Travis Hunter played Division I FBS football both ways in the state of Colorado for 2 years. His conditioning is just different thoughts.
Maybe it is altitude. Maybe that has something to do with it.
I mean, this guy is off the charts in every way imaginable. Yes, he played 2 ways in college. Yes, he played legitimately 2 ways all the way through. Yes, he did it in altitude. He also did it while maintaining like a full 16-unit course load, and he was on the dean's list with a 4-point-something GPA. I mean, Travis Hunter is an achiever.
Did you see the interaction he has with a little old lady who's basically all but wearing a bonnet on an airplane, where she sits down next to him and this lady strikes up a conversation with Travis Hunter? She doesn't even know who Travis Hunter is, just a young man, and you seem like you must be an athlete. And he had this 70-year-old woman eaten out of the palm of his hand. What a gentleman. What a sweetheart of a young man were her reviews of her Travis Hunter interaction. Very, very, he's an impressive kid. He really is.
And remember this, Larry, you talk about what he did in the classroom. That's what it's going to take. If he's going to do this on both sides, as I've said before, that's meetings twice as many as every other player in the league. So there are players who go to special teams and offensive or defensive. The fact that he's going to have an offensive and a defensive playbook in his head, good luck with that, but he is poised to do that.
Yeah.
Dominic Senna. Wasn't Deebo dealing with pneumonia last season? Come on, Krug. If 8% body fat is considered fat, then what is in shape? LOL. I don't believe he's got 8% body fat at all. And by the way, this is a guy. Look at the numbers. It's not like it's personal. Look at his numbers. He can't run anymore. He's never a good route runner. He doesn't separate. He thickens. He puts on weight. He had 1 good year last year. He hit a teammate, attacked a kicker. He's. Come on, man. I mean, seriously.
Right. Look, there's no reason to crap on Deebo, but it's a stock down situation. And walking away from a diminishing stock early is better than doing it late. And I just think that this is, the question of trade Deebo or paid Deebo at this point in his career, the Niners, I believe, made the right choice.
The old coach said, by the time, you come into your career, all of a sudden you build a name. By the end, all you have is that name. And that's why don't get confused with guys who have big names. Football, you go like this. The regular curve is to get better and then to get worse. There is nobody who gets better, gets worse, gets better again, gets worse. That's a baseball thing. That's a steroid thing. That's not a natural career arc. A natural career arc for Deebo is that he's going to continue to get thicker, fatter, slower, less productive, more hurt. And I think he's played his best football. I'm pretty sure of it. I think he'll have 3 good games. We'll see.
One feather in the cap for Deebo. I want to say it quickly. Best season of his career, Derrick Henry, coming off the worst. New team. Best season coming off his worst, Saquon Barkley, new team. It can happen. It's rare. 2 of them happened last season. Deebo could break that mold if he's able to make it happen in Washington.
Conditioning, never an issue for either one of those players, though, right?
Well, and the other thing is you're talking about them departing arguably one of the worst lines to go run behind one of the best lines.
Right.
I mean, I could say the same thing about Eric Dickerson. Great in L.A., went to the Colts. He wasn't very good. Why? They didn't have a very good line. We got Dominic says, Krug, we feed off of a bulletin point material from other teams and fans, not hand out bulletin material like you did with Adams and Deebo. LOL, don't jinx us. I'm not even sure what that meant.
I think
I know what he means.
Washington Commanders replaying some of today's show to fire up that team, and we're giving the Commanders and Deebo bulletin board material.
Oh, so you're saying that I'm motivating? God, man.
Thank you, Dominic, for
the Krug show's power.
The power of the show. I appreciate
the power
that.
of the Krug show.
Likely live in both locker rooms right now. Likely. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm not struggling. I'm not getting the ball. No, bro, you're struggling. MSQ, MLB trade deadline tomorrow. Thoughts?
Sell. Giants.
Sell.
Who are you kidding?
The Giants need a bat. I would say Luis Robert and Adrian Hauser. If I were the Giants, I gotta get a bat. I gotta get an arm. But I'm not. If I were the Giants, I would absolutely try to find the best player on the market who's got a long-term contract and get him. So, the Pirates are supposedly going to move that center fielder they have, who's an awesome player, O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz is an awesome talent. If I were the Giants, I would trade every piece that they want for O'Neal Cruz. And if all you get out of this year is this was the year that you acquired Rafi Devers and O'Neal Cruz, that's for the Giants
going forward.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
You have Devers and O'Neal Cruz on your team. I may consider buying tickets to a series next year. If you're the same weak, can't hit team that you've been this year, where that's putting Mike Yastrzemski and Lamont Wade on the field and telling everybody they're regulars. I'm not there. I'm not there.
By the way, you see that the Twins have Carlos Correa out of the lineup today. He might be getting traded. Wouldn't it be amazing if the Giants traded for Carlos Correa and then flunked him in his physical again?
That's a great recall. I'm hearing in Boston that they're not happy with Devers, and the Giants would have a chance to steal him, and I think that would be a huge move. If the Giants could somehow trade for Devers, that would really be something. That's going to be their splash move.
Worst record in baseball since making that trade.
Let's be clear. That is their move. That's the big move. I don't expect the Giants to do another. They got ahead of everyone and got Devers when the people didn't necessarily know that.
They should trade Robbie Ray. We talked about this yesterday, Larry. We or 2 days ago, whenever we did whenever we were on together last. I would trade Robbie Ray. Get out from underneath the second Tommy John, which is going to happen. Get all the value you can for him right now. Call it a day on a season that's going nowhere fast, and get ready for 2026 and be better. And every move they're making now shouldn't be for the 2025 postseason. It should be for the 2026 regular season.
I've got one for 2025 postseason that doesn't include the Giants. So the Guardians, if you're paying attention, their closer has been gambling too much on baseball, so he is now suspended indefinitely. Clase, who is a top closer in this league. The Angels' season is teetering on going nowhere yet again. And guess who's there? Kenley Jansen is actually the closer of the Angels. They don't ever use him because the idea of closing a game out is not really that important to the Angels. But the Guardians are still in a race for the wild card. That move will happen. Jansen to the Guardians. I see that happening.
Wow, that would be something. MSQ says, who are your guys' preseason favorites to win the national championship in college football? I'll take Georgia.
It's easy to take Georgia. It's easy to take Texas right now. They look like monsters.
Let me throw it in there for a fun bet that everyone should throw $10 at. Let's go North Carolina. Let's see what Belichick's got. Let's take them all the way to the championship there. All right.
Don't sleep on Kirk Segnetti and the Hoosiers, by the way. Couple of Hoosiers, Kamara and Pons on the all Big Ten defensive first team. This is uncharted territory for me. I don't even know what to do with my hands.
Brenton Dudley says, Larry and Damon, you guys rock. I moved from the Bay to Oregon and miss home. Your guys' work is like having two voices from home with me. Go Niners.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Brenton.
Like the guy I bumped into in Japan who lived up in Bend, Oregon.
My favorite story. The power of YouTube should never be denied after that story, Damon. That was incredible. Of all the things someone would say to you, I love you on Wake Up, and that happened in Japan.
Yeah, 95-7 the game didn't make it to Japan.
I had a guy give me a high five and it's like, bro, I dig you. And I was in Manhattan. He's just like, bro, I dig you. And I'm not really sure if he
maybe you looked good that day, Larry.
I don't know. He just said, bro, I dig you, and gave me a fist pound as I was walking. JR
forehead made you uncomfortable, and then the Raiders decided to wave
you. Exactly. JR Beckhold, what has Purdy's arm strength look like at camp? Well, that's a great question, and I would show it to you. But yesterday in camp, Brock Purdy threw a deep ball to Jordan Watkins while he had set, got flushed, pivoted, moved out of the pocket to his left. So now he's moving to his left, but he's a right-handed quarterback. So then he moved to his left. He very briefly, set his feet and launched the pass. It went 50 yards in the air and hit Jordan Watkins on the dead run 50 yards down the field. I have to say, arm strength-wise, that probably was the greatest Purdy throw that I've seen since he has been a 49er. It was such an amazing throw that Grant Cohn, who oftentimes is telling people that Purdy's not good, was like, that was an amazing throw. And I'm like, yeah, it really was. And to me, Purdy looks really yoked. I mean, the ball is coming out of his hand with a lot of zip. I mean, I was standing on the sidelines the other day, and he flipped one over to, I forget who it was. I think it might have been Demarcus Robinson. And Demarcus Robinson plucked it with his hands, and the noise that it made was like, dude, that was hot. Yeah, that thing came in hot.
Like a fastball, a catcher's mitt.
And Brock just shot it out there. So I would say Brock's arm strength right now is ideal. I think it looks better.
Here is all you need to know about Brock's arm strength. And, this is for Joseph Ehrenberg. This is for all the doubters. This is for everyone who thinks that Brock has got a rag arm or doesn't have the requisite arm strength. He's always had the requisite arm strength to the point where Brock Purdy is pretty easily like the most efficient quarterback of the Super Bowl era in terms of career yardage per attempt and passer rating. So you do not need to worry about Brock Purdy's arm. Protect Brock Purdy. Good things are going to happen. That's it. That's what you need to worry about. That's what this guy has been really good, while choruses of people have told you it's not good. He's been really good through the choruses of misinformation that have come out about this guy. And at some point, the numbers have to matter. And you cannot lead the NFL in career yards per pass attempt with a bad arm. It just doesn't happen.
And the team resume over the course of that time, can we also look at that? I'm sorry, but 2 NFC championship appearances and a Super Bowl appearance. This guy hasn't been your quarterback for a decade. It's going on 4 seasons.
Congrats to Brock and his bride for welcoming Millie Jolene to the world. Man, Brock Purdy's he's got it all right now, man. He's got it all right now. He's got the new baby. He's got the $265 million contract. He's got the new bride, the new home. It's all John Deered out in Nashville. He's training with George. He's going to Predators games. He's got a baby. He's giving his linemen cars. I mean, his life's good.
How great must his lawn be to be sponsored by John Deere? Does he not have does his lawn look like Wrigley Field's outfield? Is he just mowing patterns in that bad boy? Is it gorgeous? I hope it is. I hope it is.
Pline said his place is really sweet and that he's John Deered out. He's been John Deered out. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krueger Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles and Claw Daddy Arcades. Once again, follow Claw Daddy Arcades on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. And also, if you follow him on Instagram and me on YouTube, you're automatically in the running for the Patrick Willis signed jersey. So we're giving that away this week. Thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for sponsoring that contest. Guys, I'll give you the final word before we bolt for the door. It's been a good stream. We're an hour and 12 minutes into it. I've been wanting to do this particular stream for about 2.5 weeks. Sammy knows I've been trying, we've had interruptions with me filling in on KMBR, but Sam and I go Mondays at 11. Damon and I go Mondays at 9 and Fridays at 9, and basically after every Niner game the next morning at 9. So we've been moving around because we're trying to accommodate each other's schedules with camp going on. But that's going to be our schedule in the year. We'll be Monday, we'll be Friday, we'll be every time the Niners play. If they play on Monday, we'll be on Tuesday. If they play on Thursday, we'll be on Friday. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of wake up, Like and subscribe at all 3 channels. Sammy, tell us about your channel. Sammy's got a great channel with Andrew Siciliano. He's just starting it up. Damon and I are helping him build that traction. So everybody who's here, we got almost 1,400 people watching. If you could hit like and subscribe here, Damon's channel, Sammy's channel, we really would appreciate it. But Sam, give a plug for what you're doing on YouTube these days.
Thank you so much, and this is just a pleasure to be here with the two of you, and thank you for sticking with this topic, Larry. You found the list, actually. You were the first to find the top 50 and say we could absolutely dissect this, and it worked. This was great to have 3 of us at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam, at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam. That is the YouTube channel. Got a podcast with Siciliano. You can see that at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Thank you both, and thanks everyone. Like and subscribe at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam, along with, of course, Damon Bruce Plus and the Krueger Show.
And let me just say, hey, I don't know what you're doing for lunch today. Check out Ike's if you're around in Ike's. If you're in a delivery area, check out Ike's Catering for your office, for your group functions. Fantastic. Sign up for that Love Rewards program. And the next time you need a Guinness, get yourself to West Portal and go to the Dubliner and West Portal. You'll be happy that you did. And thanks to everyone. Again, shows will be coming kind of out of nowhere, last-minute plans. So hit notify. Along with liking and subscribing, you hit notify. You won't miss anything from all 3 of us. We thank you again. You can spend your YouTube hours anywhere you want. You chose to spend it with us. We thank you so very much. Like and subscribe that bad boy. And that's it. Thank you so very, very much. Larry, I guess we'll give you the last word, Lowry, on the way out of here. Lowry.
Well, you know what? I found my old Pig in a Pickle 30-second commercial, so I'll roll that on the way out the door, and then we'll throw the wake up outro. Here it is, a little word on the way out the door from the title sponsor of the Krueger Show, Pig in a Pickle.